Today we have a very special guest, and that is Anomalie. And if you don't know him,
How's it going, dude?
now you do. In this video we will talk about how he made this sound. My name is Matt Flank. Let's get started. Maybe let's just get straight to the point, like why I messaged you in the first place. What I kind of do, I have this YouTube channel on which I make tutorials about Ableton and Serum basically.
Nice.
And I have this series in which I make or remake sounds from popular songs or songs that are trending on TikTok or on Spotify. And I remake the sound in Serum and I make a tutorial of how it's made.
That's so cool.
I was thinking if you could maybe explain how you made one of the sounds of any of your songs. If you have a song in mind that you want to show us, feel free to do so. I think especially like what sets your lead sounds, for example, apart, just like that, is how you play so expressively, which is not often seen in electronic music.
Right. Well, I guess it's a big part of how I approach sounds. Like I just went quickly through a few of your clips, and you, as you said, like reverse engineering sounds from popular songs. And I think you're just like, my quick impression was that you're a much more versatile sound designer than I am. My approach to this is usually, again, like expressiveness. So most of my patches will respond to velocity in some way, usually like the filter. In some cases, like I'll play around with, like I got like a Moog grandmother like 2 or 3 months ago, and you know, like it's not like a super versatile synth, right, but it does what it does really well. And I'll usually play around with like the speed of the LFO on like the filter, or just to pitch them out, and I'll play around with that while I'm soloing, right? But I guess like my range of sounds is not that varied. At the end of the day, it mostly like changes through the part that I'm playing, and especially with like this new project that's going to be coming out, like I did focus a lot more on the R part piano, several keyboard sounds, and then synths are still a big part of the sound, but I guess they play more like of a support role, maybe. I would say. And I ended up using the grandmother a lot and the Juno a lot. And the Juno 106 or the 60 for that matter, you know, they're both like synths that have a lot of personality and character, but at the end of the day, like the actual sound itself, it's 3 oscillators, right? And I guess like the most variation that you can get is through pulse width, because that on its own can create like a kind of like a wide range of sounds, but it's always a low pass filter. It's always like either a saw or the square or the pulse width, and then an octave patch or just a like one oscillator patch, and then I'll play around with expressiveness through like some slight vibrato or like some slight automation on the pulse width itself.
I see.
I guess that's my kind of like introduction.
Right.
So this is like the main verse lead, which is basically 2 layers, of which one, this is like an omnisphere. So one of the layers is a sample of a Juno 60 patch, which is basically 3 oscillators. So you could count it like as 4 layers technically, but because the Juno sound on its own is rather simple, I would say. So like it's basically like an octave patch with some slight unison, some wave shaping, very slight, just for some like a sort of like saturation effect. It's going through a low pass filter with its own resonance. The sample itself is already has like a filter from the Juno that's applied, but I just wanted some more resonance through the ionosphere layer. So this is that layer on its own. And obviously velocity is determining how much the filter is opening up, so I can play around with that. But then the second layer is what makes it kind of like pop through. It's just a click layer. So it's a noise sample from the Juno. All right, so there's like a just pitch shifted the noise, I guess. So the noise doesn't move along with the keyboard, but it's like 2 pitches of noise, one that's super high, one that's lower.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's very subtle, but It just makes it so the attack is like more defined and cuts through a little bit more in the mix, which is something I'll do from time to time.
It's almost like you can hear you pressing the keys down on your piano.
Exactly. It has kind of like a similar effect. And I'll do that once in a while on the Moog as well, like just like a click layer from the noise oscillator. On the Juno itself, I don't really do it because you don't have like a separate envelope for the noise. The noise will just add like a sort of texture, but that's where like VSTs, or I guess like more advanced, since like the Prophet can kind of do that kind of thing with like separate envelopes and LFOs, which we kind of take for granted with like Serum. That's what I've been like enjoying about working with like the Moog and Juno, is like kind of like working with limitations that end up like not being limitations because it just makes for interesting character. But sometimes like I'll design a sound in Vital with a certain board in mind. Let's say like I played around with the Mini Moog at Chromeo Studio like 2 years ago, and the OB6. I'll try to make like OB6 type patches in Vital by trying to think of it in a similar way. But yeah, so these 2 layers, and then it goes to slight compression, spring reverb, and that's it.
Okay, so that's it for this video with Anomalie, but I have a second one coming very soon. It's in the making, and in that video we talk about some more of his presets, some more of his sounds and how he makes them, as well as some other fun stuff. So if you don't want to miss that, please hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification icon. I hope you enjoyed this video with Anomalie and you learned something, and then I wish to see you in the next video. Peace.